that great soup making music? Watch soup making music. I was dancing. I don't know if you guys saw me in the back. I was kind of dancing. I don't know. Anyway, welcome to another
Not
episode of
judging.
Watch Soup. Yeah. This is Bobby Legs, and I am joined by my co-host Clayton from the Watchdog Podcast and Sanjay from the Engineer Wannabe channel. Guys, how are you today? How was your weekend? Clayton, talk to me.
It was a good weekend. Yeah. Yesterday was the relaxing day. Today was the get stuff done day. So
Mm,
pretty tired. It's been hot here, and yeah,
yeah.
did a lot of outside stuff today. So it sneaks up on you. Had a heavy dinner. We
Oh.
grilled lamb tonight.
Ooh.
So yeah, I'm a little. I'm gonna be snoozing shortly after this.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we're gonna bring it up. We're gonna go up to 10 here,
Nothing
and
like
then
some good night soup.
yeah,
I
Good night,
don't
Sue.
know. Making no sense. Expect more of that.
what are you wearing on wrist today, Clay?
Endeavor,
Oh
Endeavor, yeah,
yeah, that's
looks
it.
good in that light.
That's a beauty. Sanjay, what's up, man?
Yeah, not too much. I had
How
a
you
similar
doing?
day.
Yeah.
I did some yard work. I
Mm-hmm.
can't stand yard work, but I did some yard work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it was hot too. So I'm gonna be snoozing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, good day yesterday too. Got an apparently rare watch
Yeah,
or
very good day for
watch
you.
that was not supposed to be out for a while. Which is on my wrist, the
Oof. Yeah.
Looks so good.
SGE093.
That's
Yeah,
a beauty.
yeah, on a sale class.
Yeah.
As per usual. Yeah, let's.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah,
Thank you,
congrats.
thank you.
Yeah.
I'm
I
Among
too.
the
really
first.
excited.
Yeah. Among the first, man. You're like well, you're the engineer wannabe.
Yeah,
You're
the
the
last time that happened, it was an Oris, and things didn't go so well.
things didn't go so well. That's all right. Hey, I did yard work too, guys. I filled in some cracks in the driveway. Man, that's the worst part about doing that is
Oh yeah.
actually cleaning out the cracks. I know. Somebody's gonna make some comments here, but you gotta
Crack kills.
crack hills. You gotta clean out the cracks, and then you gotta fill the cracks, right? Uh, and then I also did some yard
A
work
lot of
with
skid marks. I don't know.
yeah, no,
I'm in a bad.
yeah.
I'm
You
down a
gotta clean.
bad path, and yeah.
You gotta clean the skid marks out. But like the
Tired,
thing is, like,
delirious me is not good. Just fair warning.
yeah, but there's so many cracks, right? I still got so many cracks to fill. So
Well, that's hot, right on the on the blacktop and pavement in the
yeah,
blazing sun. Yeah, that's yikes.
yeah. It was mostly this morning, but then but look, it's like I'm not terribly handy, right? So when I do something and it goes according to plan and it turns out well, man, I feel pretty good. I feel pretty good about myself,
Yeah.
So that being something that looks like I'm on the right track, and then eventually I gotta seal the driveway, get a big squeegee, and do that kind of thing. Looking forward to doing that. I know, home ownership, but whatever. Anyway, I
Yeah.
got a Seiko SPV 381 MM200
Very
case.
nice.
It's a little bit thicker, but with the GMT functionality.
Yeah.
And I like it. It's got a really great green dial on it and a green bezel. It looks really, really cool. Love it.
Have you checked the accuracy on that so far?
No.
Did you-
I never check accuracy on Seiko.
Okay.
I just
Yeah.
don't do it.
Yeah. Peace of
Should I
mind.
check? Now you made me think. Should I be checking the accuracy?
No,
on it?
no. Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's generally telling me the right time.
Yeah.
I'm good with that. I'm good with
Yeah.
that. Hey, let's say hello to the chat, and then we'll jump right into the soup. It's not hot. Mr. Casio, what's going on? How you doing? Steve, Maison 1 is here. Hey, Bill K, how you doing? Mr. Wilson, thank you for showing up at the EDC Hour with Dirk and Alex. I was on that stream just before this one. Had a great talk about watches and knives and other EDC items. Pale Horse is here. How you doing? What's going on? Good to see you. Mr. Time Hill, how you doing? Hey, what knife am I carrying? Okay, all right, wise guy. I got Adam Zenko 20.5. Very fun.
That's not
Anish,
a knife.
what was that? That's not. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
That's
that's
not
not a knife.
that's not a knife. Yeah. Keith, what's going on? How you doing? Hey, Kevin S is here. Detroit Spartan, what's going on? Mez9, hello, how are you? Peter C, what's up? Hey, David, good to see you. Saw you, saw you at the last stream. Good to see you, man.
Good to see you.
Maison 1, I am wearing my my monster Moser Heritage Cerna Circans Funky Blue Fume tonight as congrats to Guy _ Incognito on getting the same reference. Oh yeah, Mr. Guy _ Incognito. Let's see here. David's wearing his Notice Sector Deep on wrist. Justin is here, strapped in. What's going on? Hey, Abby Bobby's here. Sympathy for the Bezel is here. Detroit, not that anyone asked, but Explorer 39. Well, no, I mean thank you, Detroit, for letting us know. We do want to know what you're wearing on wrist. Please,
That's a good
please
one,
tell
too.
us. Please tell us for sure. Hey, Leland, what's going on? He just won a Timex that I was giving away on Dirk Stream. So
Yeah, cool.
congratulations.
Congrats.
Congrats.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, let's get started on the soup here. And we're going to start off with you, Clayton, your pick. Pete McConvill, a watch is more than a spec sheet and a few images. Tell us about this video.
So there's a lot here. I'm going to do my best to sort of condense it down a little bit, but yeah, I picked something else, and then this video came out this morning. I said, okay, I'm gonna go with this one because it sort of relates to the watch Sanjay just got too, I thought. So and just expensive Seiko in general and some other watches. So he talks about an Ariel Adams article on a blog to watch that he saw recently. What does it take to make a watch successful? So he said he's going to go over that, and then also how one person's view of a watch might be different than another person's view. So yeah, Ariel Adams in that article said there are 3 components that make a watch successful. Minimum functionality, it's going to do what you need it to do. Beautiful or aesthetically pleasing, that looks nice to you. Maybe symmetry, maybe it's dial, maybe it's fit, whatever it might be, it's going to be aesthetically pleasing to you. It's going to look nice. And then the third is the story. Does the story speak to you? And whatever the story might be, like the history of the brand, the history of the watch, maybe it was used by, the Speedmaster went to outer space, maybe that speaks to you. Maybe it's resale value of Rolex, whatever it might be, whatever speaks to you. So Pete thinks that those 3 components to watches are something that all watches can be judged against, like very important. Story, history, all that stuff. And it's there's divergence in how we experience the hobby. Like he gets to go to a lot of these great events and meet brand owners. I was really impressed. He went to the Bremont thing. He's gone to Piaget stuff. I don't really have access to a lot of that. So a lot of what I do, I go and try watches on, but I haven't been to a wind up yet. Like I talked to Keith, he went and talked to all these brand owners, got their perspective. So it's that sort of experience, hands-on, talking to the brand owners and getting their reason but why they create these brands is better than me sitting in my mom's basement just being a keyboard warrior, talking about how that watch sucks, this watch sucks, all that, right? And do we want more than that, or are we content down the basement having mom bring us meatloaf, right? So you get that joke, I'm sure.
I do.
Okay. So yeah, he talked about the Bremont event. He talked to one of the owners of Bremont, and he got to see that crazy prototype watch, the Viper, like a pilot's watch. It looks really interesting. I thought it looked kind of cool, but I'm not into aviation, so Bremont's one of those brands that never quite spoke to me. But there was negative press on that watch. Everybody thought it was ugly, huge. Nobody kind of understood it. And then he held it and talked to the owner and the creator of the watch. And, he got a whole different sort of perspective on that watch. He was one of those people that never really got Bremont. He always thought it was sort of this artificial aviation background. They were trying to manufacture some sort of history or background that wasn't quite there. And then he spent time, and Pete works in aviation too. He's in the he's in the Air Force, right? I think in Australia. So he works in aviation. This is what he does. So it's of real interest to him. And he got to talking to one of the owners of Bremont, and he saw like, this is not manufactured. This is real. and it got him to appreciate that brand and that watch in particular in ways that he never had before. And then he would see these people ripping on this watch, and he just was coming at it from a different direction because he was able to get hands on with it and talk to the person who thought up the idea and created the watch. Let's see here. It was attractive when he handled it. Keyboard warriors have a different experience, only virtually. So he was, like I said, able to see it. Then he went to a Piaget event, another brand that he'd never connected with, but he talked to a major Piaget enthusiast, and that got him excited about a brand that otherwise he never would have gotten excited about. He got caught up in that. And he said he usually is pretty tough on the media, and I promise I know this is going long here. He's usually tough on the media, right? He thinks they're shills, but he got to see maybe from their perspective because they get hands-on with these owners and with these brands. So maybe their excitement doesn't come from the fact that they're being paid off. It comes from the fact that they get to hear these inside stories that, us at home are not really privy to. And it got me thinking about, everybody rips on, expensive Seikos. Like, I'm sure there are people who are having a hard time digesting that Sanjay traded in his Black Bay 54 for the Seiko SJE 093. Yeah. If you've never, the Seiko does not do them justice in pictures. So if you've never seen one in person, it might be hard to understand. But if you have, like, they're right on par. They're even more special in a way. So that's just where it got me thinking. I'll end it now. I thought it was a great video, but just wanted to get your guys' thoughts on it.
Yeah, I mean, Sanjay, please.
Yeah, I was actually struggling to follow Pete in this one. It was I know he had that disclaimer at the beginning and at the end, but I had to concentrate, and I had kids running around too, so it was a little hard to follow. But honestly, even after you gave that summary, I'm a little bamboozled. But
until I took notes, I was a little too, because I was like, I want to talk about this, but I'm not quite sure. So I had to, once I sat down and took notes for it, that's why it's a little detailed. Because like he said, he was a little all over the place. He tried to script it and he just couldn't. So he just sat down and see what happens.
Yeah. But I kind of understand what he's talking about. At least definitely when he mentioned about the enthusiasm, and it seems like some of these reporters could be shills. And if someone, if there was like, if I was like this huge production personality or something, a lot of people could say that I'm a Grand Seiko shell. Like, Grand Seiko's paying me off, and I'm overly positive about it. I let stuff slide. But honestly, it's because I love the story, right? And I've in a sense bought into it, or drank the Kool-Aid, or whatever you want to say. You just appreciate it and you want to go with it. And so I do understand his argument or case for the production, and he did at the end say, even though that might be the case, and he still thinks that they are shills, right? I think you said that too. They probably are being paid off in some way, shape, or form, but there's a better chance than none that these guys are still enthusiasts as well, which kind of ties into Hodinky and Brandon Menancio, who was in the next video, or the video after, maybe. Honestly, I've spoken to Brandon in the past. I haven't spoken to him recently, but way before he was part of Hodinky, he was crazy Grand Seiko guy, just like me. We were both two crazy Grand Seiko guys talking to each other on Instagram instead of working. Back when we had desk jobs, or back when I had a desk job. And yeah, he's definitely not a shill. I mean, who knows what's changed since then, but I'm pretty sure he's the real deal, right? He just loves Grand Seiko. So but within the same organization, who knows what's going on, like Hodinky of all places, right? So I totally understand. And when it comes to opinions changing when you actually handle a watch? I guess with this Seiko, I kind of knew it was going to be special, but there was a time when I hadn't seen the Seiko yet. Like even the Seiko Bobby you were wearing,
Mhm.
if you look at the case complexity and the polishing that goes around the sides and comes out the front, you know, oh, it's just so good. Right. And you don't know that until you actually hold it. Like,
Yeah.
you look at the polishing and you wonder how does this cost only $1,500 or whatever,
Mhm.
right? But so yeah, I totally understand that point of view too, even though I think that Viper thing is absolutely horrendous. Uh,
And Pete
but
admitted at the end that he might be bought and sold, or he might be buying a bill of goods or whatever, like he might be buying into story and being taken for a ride too. He said that could be a
well,
possibility.
that's interesting. I don't know if he was referring to like the Bark and Jack thing, right? Like when Adrian went to like this Bremont house party and he did this video, and everything blew up. I don't think that video exists on YouTube anymore. But it seemed super biased.
Mhm.
It seemed like he had been bought. I don't think he was. Um, but it seemed like he had been bought out. But maybe Bremont is super. They're just super charismatic and they're good salesmen. You know, who knows?
Yeah, I
Maybe
don't know.
they won Pete McConvill over too, having these strange house parties. Maybe there was something in the drink.
Yeah.
Mr. Legs, what do you think?
Yeah, look, I mean, in regards to stories, I like a good story, just like the next guy, but I'm picky about the stories that I'm allow myself to like, right? So, like, what I mean by that, like, I think Braemont right now, I'm so heavily skewed and biased against them, right? That Braemont and the Easter Bunny and Santa Claus could be sitting next to me and they could tell me how much like, great Braemont is and I still won't buy it. You know what I mean? And I still won't, buy into the story. I don't know why. It's just me. That's the way I am. Maybe I'm a dick. But or what or whatnot. But I do like a good story when it comes to a watch. Now, in the beginning, Pete is referring to that article on a blog to watch, and so you have that three criteria that Anto Adams mentions, and for me, I like something that looks good, right? I like something that has like a good functionality, and the story, but they don't always have to have all those pieces for me to enjoy the watch and actually have a watch in the collection. The story does help for me when some of the other things are not as lacking. It's not like an even distribution, like they need to have these three things at the same level for me to be interested. They all could be, different, right? Something could be, plain, but have a great story like the Vertex that I had, and I regret selling that watch, but it looks like your typical military field watch, right? Very similar to other field watches made in that era or that style, but I liked the story behind it, right? And so it made me like the watch even much more. And it just had a regular three-handed manual movement in it. You know what I mean? So, um, yeah, yeah, I mean, and as far as Pete, experience or his not experience, but his discussion about keyboard warriors, like what are we supposed to do? You know what I mean? Like we have to, most of the stuff I see is online. I don't get a
Yeah.
chance to go out and see these things in person. Once in a while, I go to an event. Actually, once in a while, I mean, once a year, I go to I went to Watch Time and Wind Up. Right, that was like the only time I've been able to do. I can't really get out of the house because I got other responsibilities, and I live in an area where I'm like easily, 30, 40 minutes away from the nearest like authorized dealer of anything. And so like everything is online and I do formulate opinions. Now he does make a point with saying that, are these he's got a problem with like or he brings up the point like, people having opinions based on other people's opinions. And that's true. I think like we can get caught up into that. We heard something and now we are taking it as fact and now we're repeating the same thing.
Yeah.
That's how doesn't just happen in watches. It happens in a lot of other things in life, right? And that gets problematic, right? So I don't get a chance to see these things in person. So yeah, I am skewed. I have prejudices based on that when it comes to some of the watches that I see, and I'm aware. The thing is, like, I'm aware of it, right? I'm aware that is happening. So I try not to be too, um, uh, uh, you know, uh, judgmental when it comes to something that I don't like because I've only seen pictures. Because sometimes these renders don't do it justice anyway.
Right.
So
Hmm.
I'm a little bit all over the place as well, like the video. But let's see what people in the chat are saying. An Achiever Watch Collector wearing his Datejust 41 tonight. Pete, he wore 3 watches today. Is that wrong? No, Pete,
No.
you're in the right place.
Yeah.
For sure.
If that's wrong, I don't want to be right.
Sometime Pete makes my head hurt, says an Achievement Watch Collector. Let's see here. Access to Bremont. Oh my, Pete must be a heavy hitter. Okay. You will be okay. This is Wilson talking here. Kevin S. Bremont is one of those brands that don't quite speak to anybody. Harsh words by Kevin S. Hey, what's six though? What's up? What's going on? Hey, and Caliber is here. How you doing, sir?
Have you handled one in person?
A Bremont? No.
Yeah, I
No.
have my
Yeah.
friend. I handled one. It was fine. I'm just not into Pilot's watches, so it was nice. It was big.
I like
Didn't
a good
spend much
Pilot
time.
watch.
Yeah,
I do like Pilot watches. IWC, for me, but they have like a real history behind that story. You know
yeah,
what I mean? They've been around forever, and to me, if history is part of the story, I like that. I'm
yeah.
into that. You know, Bremont does have artificial aviation background. Oh boy. Let's
I don't
see
even know
here.
Lots
much
of
about
experience
them.
in
I
the
learned more about Bremont in that video than I've ever known.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a brand I really spent any time looking at.
Sanjay,
they've got they've got a couple of divers too, don't they? Like
I
yeah,
think so. Yeah,
they do. Look, I mean, they had some good looking pieces. I will admit, the problem with me and Bremont is like like there's so many other other pilot watches that I'm interested in.
Yeah.
Other than them, like they're way down on the list. And a lot
Yeah.
of it too, as I mentioned before, it does have to do with like history of the brand, because to me, a story is good, but also history is really really
Yeah.
good. And I'm not. Maybe Bremont does have a history. I just don't know it. I don't think they have much of a history, and that's not a slam on them. I mean, I just like I just like something like Stova. I mean, that has history, right?
Yeah.
Um,
They've got bad history too.
yeah,
Laco, all those brand terrible.
No, I
that's true.
meant more Bremont, like
Oh,
integrity wise, right? With
Yeah,
their was it the Titanic? No, it was the SEIKO chronograph movement. Was that no? That was Tag Heuer, sorry. But Bremont did something weird with an in-house movement, which is not really in-house or something.
yeah. There was that,
mm.
right?
Yeah.
Dib, hey, Dib is here. What's going on, Dib? Sanjay once made a good move by trading a lowly Tudor for a classic Seiko.
I don't know if he's being sarcastic or is.
He's a big Seiko guy.
It's
He's
a
a big
great
Seiko
move.
guy.
It's a great move.
Steve's saying, so people who are being directly marketed to in person might have a different opinion that someone who isn't.
Essentially, right.
Yeah. Gerald Dibby Genta. Could have called you a Grand Seiko shell until you traded your SBGY003. Not anymore. Hmm. Okay. Hey, Canadian Watch Monkey, how you doing? What's going on? Man, Kevin S is really hitting. Bremont is good. It's a good 50% watch. Yeah. Dip here. Dibby is saying Bremont makes good, solid watches, but their prices don't make sense, and their marketing doesn't stick. Buy Rolex, be happy. Wow. What do you think
Yeah, they're
about that?
expensive. Every time I see a price on a Braymont, yeah, I'm turned off even more.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
would
like,
just never buy one.
I think Toppers is it Toppers or Exquisite? One of those, maybe it's both of them, are they carry Bremont, and every once in a while, they'll put one on for sale for like half the price, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's where the price point is on those realistically. Um, Wilson saying Borealis had a hell of a story for him. Wow, wow.
They were
Uh,
just talking about that brand.
yeah. Time out. Bremont, the father flew a plane and crash landed in France. Yeah, and the plane and the family's farm was Bremont. I think that's what Pete was saying, that the family's farm that he crashed the plane in was their last name was Bremont. And I guess they did they nurse his father to health? Did they give him some fromage? Or something like it's like, you fell from the sky. Would you like some fromage? I don't know. Is that what French people do? Jim, someone must be buying those overpriced. Yeah, I think so. Archie. I don't know. Did you guys ever see that video that Archie? I don't know if you guys watch Archie anymore, but he did a collection review, and the guy had like over 20
Oh,
in a
yes, I
collection,
did see that. Yes, he
and he just
roasted
like
him.
he just went
Yeah.
nuts. That's one of my, when I need like a good pick me up, I'll go watch that video.
Didn't he specifically pay for his collection to be roasted? Isn't that like what?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Reviewed.
yeah, right. Yeah.
Kevin asks, at least Bremont is starting to make its own movements and other components. Still, the pricing is tough with them at retail. Yeah, for sure. Buy a Rolex, Dib, GMT Master for your pilot needs. End the story. Dib, wow, I think he might be a Rolex shill.
I would go Longines Spirit.
That's a good watch.
Yeah.
It's a good watch. I like my Moser as a Flieger inspired pilot's watch. I love my Navitimer, which it has more of a genuine history as a pilot's watches. Yeah, Navitimers are where it's at, man. Okay, let's scroll down here and let's finish up the comments, and we'll move on to the next one. Crash planes and pilot watches. Cool story, bro.
Think of all the planes that have gone down with Navitimers on them. You got one Bremont.
Yeah, right.
Wait, they didn't know there wasn't even a Bremont.
No, it was it wasn't even on the plate. It was inspired the whole thing. So
right.
Yeah.
Somebody saying, you three put your money where your mouths are. In all the time consuming your content, I have never doubted your opinions. Oh, thanks, man.
Oh, thank you.
Appreciate that.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, Keith is here. Bremont makes a good-looking watches compared to the trash in Belova's catalog. All right, that's an interesting comparison. Longines likely to break down 7 times more than a Rolex in its lifetime. Hey, Pete's here. Hey, guys, just jumped in. Interesting fact that at least Bremont have never claimed to be the first up at Everest. Oh, that's big to the Rolex fanboys.
Love it.
Go on, Pete.
Does Rolex claim the first dive watch?
Do they? No, I don't think they do. Right?
Other people do. I don't know that I've heard them do
Yeah.
it.
Okay. Let's move on. Unless you guys have any final words on this, we'll move on to the next one. Let's break it up here. Let's have a little fun here. Britt Pearce with a short 8 rules of watch collecting. This tongue-in-cheek, her 8 rules of watch collecting, and I really actually enjoyed it. I do enjoy her sense of humor a lot, actually. Number 1, so this is the watch rules. If you're a new watch collector, she did a short and watch rules that we live by as collectors, as other collectors do. Number 1, Hublot is complete and utter is utter landfill. Loathing it is essential. So that's the first rule. That's the first rule that she has in the rules. That's interesting. She went like right there.
Yeah, interesting place to start.
Yeah.
I can hear Dib logging off right now.
Yeah. Dib being very, very. Hey, I like Hublot. I mean, I probably wouldn't. I shouldn't say that. I was gonna say I probably wouldn't buy one, but that's not true. There's some Hublots that I really do like. Um, I just don't have the money for. Anyway, two,
Black belt.
Heritage reigns supreme. Three, complicated Rolex feelings. I totally can identify with that,
Yeah,
right? You know,
totally.
there's times when I hated Rolex, times when I was just completely obsessed with Rolex. Um, Number four, you are now a pretend diver, so nothing under 100-meter water resistance will keep up will work. So keep up with your adventurous lifestyle, your pretend adventurous lifestyle, and that is funny. Like, you know, like if I have anything that's under 101 meters, like it's like, oh, it better be like a really fancy dress watch, right? Meanwhile, like I don't dive. I really don't. I don't even go. I barely go in a swimming pool. You know what I mean? Like with a watch. You know, so that was kind of funny. Five, don't collect for the investment, bro. So for those investment bros, she has a rule. Number six, quartz equals bad. Apple is sacrilegious. Um, but number seven, but in the case of G-Shock, quartz is good, and you'll, you know, it's okay. Collecting G-Shocks are okay. And number eight, collect what you like as long as it's part of this basic architect, right? So archetype. So a fun way to approach the hobby. Uh, you know, she's always. I just like her sense of humor. Anyway, let's just go down the list real quick, and I'll just give my quick thoughts, and then you guys, you know, jump in and let me know. Hublot is complete another landfill. I think I said, you know, I'm okay with Hublot. Heritage Green Supreme. It does. I like Heritage. I mean, I know she's kind of like kidding here. That it doesn't have to be, but I do like Heritage. Absolutely complicated Rolex feelings. The diver thing, I don't dive. Don't collect for investment, bro. I think that's what we try to tell each other. But at the end of the day, some of us do, and that's okay. You know, no judgment there. Quartz is not bad. You know, I think she's making fun of people who say quartz is bad.
Yeah.
I like quartz. I think quartz. I think there's a place in the collection for everyone to have a quartz watch. It doesn't mean it's soulless or whatnot. It just means that it's hella accurate. You know,
Yep.
and I think that's fine with that. And but you know, I don't have an Apple Watch, and I don't think I ever will. I mean, I got a Fitbit. That's probably the closest thing I'll ever get to anything like that. Um, G-Shocks are okay. I totally agree with that statement. And collect whatever you like. Hey, why not? Sanjay, what do you think?
Yeah. I was actually I agreed with the Hublot thing. I can't stand Hublot.
Why? Why can't you stand Hublot?
Oh, it's just vulgar. It's also it's like, you know, it's like it's the visual embodiment of someone just constantly cursing in my ears, right? Except it's into my eyes. So it's unpleasant. It's,
Wow.
yeah, it's like a Lamborghini. I can't stand Lamborghinis. They're so, oh, so yeah, vulgar. Vulgar is the word.
All right.
Apologies to anyone who owns a Lamborghini or enjoys Lamborghini. I'm sure they're great cars. Anyway, yeah, the other ones were the quartz. I love quartz,
Yeah.
so it doesn't jive with me. But I don't love G-Shocks. I think G-Shocks are okay,
Mm,
but I don't love G-Shocks.
how dare you?
And we'll see. What's a couple more? I didn't write them down. Sorry.
It's okay. Collect
Uh,
what you want as long as it
yeah,
fits
yeah.
this archetype.
Yep.
Archetype.
Relationship with Rolex.
Complicated relationship with Rolex. Do you have a complicated relationship? No.
You know, I think Rolex is a good brand, right? I respect what they do. It's just not for me, you know.
Oh,
Uh,
you giving me the Oris excuse that I give?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You got
Oh,
that, eh?
oh,
No, no. If Rolex, I'd buy Rolex at 50 off. You know.
Wow.
Sorry,
Uh,
sorry. I'm sleep deprived and
yeah.
a little spicy, but yeah, yeah. It was a fun video. I had a blast watching that.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
quick and fun. So, Clayton.
Clayton.
yeah, she's great. I love this. I wanted it to be longer. The Hublot, I don't hate Hublot. I think it's fun to jump on the hate bandwagon for people, I guess. But yeah, it's not something I'll ever buy because A, I can't afford it, and B, I don't know if a lot of them will fit me. Not really my style, but I don't like have these feelings of hatred. Heritage, huge for me. I love SEIKO and all those brands for their history. Braemont. I'm learning the history tonight, and I'm gonna go out and get one now. Just kidding. Complicated Rolex relationship. I think kind of resentful before I got one, and love them now that I got one. Isn't that the way it goes? You hate that. You hate Rolex until you can get one at retail. Yeah, I do cosplay with my watches. Like I'm not someone who should be wearing a Moser, but I pretend to be. I'm a diver, I like all these tool watches. I don't really do anything adventurous, but it's you can pretend, and that's what's kind of fun about watches. It makes you feel like you're somebody else doing exciting things when you put it on sometimes. So that's fun. I think that's part of the charm. Investment, no. Quartz, I love quartz. I'm way into the history of quartz. And yeah, that's something I got excited about. G-Shock, love. I only have one. I don't know that I'll be buying too many more, but yeah, I've owned a bunch, probably more than any other brand. And yeah, the collect what you love thing. I totally agree.
Dib chiming in as usual. 8 rules of watch collecting. Get 8 Rolex. Shit on other brands. End this story. Hublot classic fusion. I'm gonna skip that other Dib comment. Kid mess. Time when I hated Rolex. Times when I loved Rolex, and those times when I sold Rolex. Okay, high accuracy quartz is wonderful. I totally agree. For sure. Sanjay can't stand Hublot, but buys a lady's fuck. Oh,
Hey, it didn't have the diamond, so it's not ladies, okay?
Lamborghinis are for winners. One G-Shock is enough. Oh boy. Divvy is on fire tonight. Like somebody like spiked his chutney with some extra hot peppers or something like that, because he's going crazy over here. If you can afford a Moser, you can afford Hublot.
I have to sell the Moser to buy a Hublot.
Yeah. Everyone hates Rolex until they own one. Okay.
Yep.
Underachieving watch. He likes Rolex. He has a few. Okay, so moving on to our last topic video of the evening. Sanjay. Anything that has Grand Seiko, you know that Sanjay is his ears are gonna perk. WatchCrunch Omega versus
and he doesn't have one.
And he doesn't have one. Omega versus Grand Seiko street fight from the Anachronist. Anachronist? I forgot.
There you go.
Yeah, Anachronist. Podcast. Sanjay, tell us about this one.
Yeah, this is a short conversation between Brandon Nancio and our friend Max. Bizarre. I feel like it was over edited, too short. It would have been nice to see the full conversation that happened. I don't know if Max posts the full conversation somewhere, but it was a little like you felt like you only had the appetizer but not the main event, like the entree. So yeah, I enjoyed the conversation they had. They talked very briefly about Brandon's move to Hodinkee. They talked a bit about Brandon's Grand Seiko collection. Max had a few Omegas lent in, so they were looking at Globe Master, Speedmaster, Seamaster, and it was a interesting conversation. Nothing groundbreaking. I kind of picked it because there's nothing really else that happened this week. But I was wondering, I was thinking that Omega and Grand Seiko, they're probably, like, Grand Seiko is my favorite brand, but Omega, I'm pretty sure, is my second favorite brand. So those are my two favorite brands, and the arguments they came up with for either brand were pretty similar. Talking about how great they look, and technology-wise, they were talking about the technology, spring drive, Omega's coaxial, and the focus on anachronistic tech, I guess. And yeah, it was. It really felt like it didn't end. Like there was something missing because there was no conclusion. There was no final thoughts.
Yeah,
There's no, hey, what do you
cut
pick?
cut abruptly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I figured we could have this conversation and finish it off for them.
Okay.
uh, not that we're prepared or anything, but Mr. Legs, you've been on a Speedmaster kick lately. Or do you think you'd go ahead and get one at some point, soon or later? Or
Oh yeah. I think it's definitely on my wish board, my dream board is to pick up a Omega. I've owned a Grand Seiko. I had the Sea of Clouds. It was a great watch. Loved the case. Too much polish for me. I was just like paranoid about it, and it just like kept me up at night, not figuratively. And so I know where your watch is. I know I get it. But I just it was just a little bit too much for me to worry about. It was just a really pretty watch, and Grand Seiko does it. The Grand Seikos that I've handled, I think obviously the polishing is top class, right? I mean, like it just looks really really good. But for me, I think I'm more of an Omega fan than I am a Grand Seiko a fan. I mean, not to say like I would never own a Grand Seiko watch again, but I like Omega. I think
yeah,
I well, I think until recently, I mean, these price hikes have been a little disconcerting, but with Omega, I think they have such a enormous catalog, and you can find so many of the watches in the pre-owned market for good prices, as well as Grand Seiko. But I think I prefer Omega. I prefer Omega on this
yeah,
one, and I want to get that Moon watch. Talk about history. I want to talk. I want to get that Speedmaster Moon watch, and some other pieces down the road. But yeah, I'm more of an Omega in this camp.
mhm,
Omega's camp in this argument. Clayton,
yeah,
what do you think?
Yeah, I really agreed with having owned multiples of both brands. I agreed with their positives, their pros, and their cons. Really, I mean,
Mm,
I think craftsmanship, movement, technology for Grand Seiko, of course, and then same thing, the history, the segmentation they talked about, which I think was, I mean, the Seamaster and the Speedmaster, you're never going to confuse some of the Seamaster chronographs, maybe if you don't know what you're
mhm,
looking for, or whatever, or some Speedmasters kind of look like they could be Seamasters too, or the vice versa. And I also like some of the cons. I agreed with Omega, like too many watches. They sort of pander to some, don't pander, limit your options. They talk about like some brands that don't have a whole lot of options, or like Apple only has a few products. And that's what
mhm,
makes them so successful. So maybe Omega can step it back. If I were to buy one of these two brands, it would be Grand Seiko before Omega. I
mm,
just think I
mhm.
identify with the especially like a 9F just gets me excited in a way nothing Omega has in their catalog. I know they're solid watches, just doesn't get my juices flowing really like some Grand Seiko do. So if I had to buy one of those two brands right now, it'd be Grand Seiko.
Wow. Even like their super high end stuff, would you be considering that into
Oh,
your equation or?
oh, like Omega?
Yeah,
Well, yeah. If we're
yeah,
talking fantasy watch buying,
fancy money. Yeah,
then maybe, but then maybe
yeah,
I'd go for the the whatchamacallit Grand Seiko. I can't think of it right now.
Kodo.
Yeah, Kodo.
Yeah,
So
ooh,
if we're really playing that game, I think I'd pick that one anyway.
yeah, constant
Yeah.
force or
Yeah.
beyond. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
um, yeah, you guys know my answer. I'd go Grand Seiko. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Um, Ironic of me to say, considering I don't have Grand Seiko right now, but I have an Omega. Um, but uh, Grand Seiko, I think that the thing there is they both have the same problem. There's too many watches, and they're pandering to too many people.
mm,
Yeah.
Maybe they're not actually pandering, but there's just too too much to choose from. Maybe,
Yeah.
um, which is a pro to some and a con to others. I think you'd have the analysis paralysis with Omega over, say, Rolex or an equivalent brand that doesn't have too much to choose from. I feel, and one of the things Brandon said was that a lot of the older Grand Seikos are still there, and I know some are, but
And the
a
same
lot are
price?
gone. Like the SBGX models, there's some of the newer ones like the 343, 349. But the original, not the original, but the 261s, the 263s, the 37 millimeter Explorer like 9F quartz models that were what $2,000. They're gone. I
Wow.
mean, I haven't seen one in a case in forever. I don't know if they're even still in the catalog. So I feel like there's a lot that has started to disappear from Grand Seiko as they, reintroduce the same watch with something slightly different at a much higher price point, but with a new reference number. So I yes and no at what he was saying, that prices aren't going up with Grand Seiko, but then prices are going up with Omega as well, right? And the other thing I think Omega and Grand Seiko had the same problem is there's always a fatal compromise for most of the watches, at least for me.
Me too.
Yeah.
With both
like
brands, it's been something I didn't
Mm.
like, and that's why I moved
yeah.
on.
Yeah, and the only one where that hasn't happened for me is the Planet Ocean 39.5, the one that I still own. It's heavy, but that's only temporarily. Like once you take the bracelet off and it's the winter months, then you can really enjoy that watch even more without the weight. But yeah, there's always like this fatal compromise, like with the Seamaster 300 professional. It's big, and it's got that non-tapering bracelet, and there's just this massive compromise of some sort.
Bezel.
Yes. Planet Ocean is either too small or too big, like just right for me. But I've got a small wrist. But say for you guys, the 39.5 is probably a bit too small for you guys, based on the lug to lug and how it wears.
Mm.
But then the 44 is ginormous. It's like a dinner plate. So yeah, it's just some kind of. There's always some compromise. I find for myself.
What was the compromise for the your Speedmaster?
So it's just too big for me.
Hmm.
It's I could have pulled it off, but every time I looked at it, I was like, yeah, it's a little too big, but I kind of pushed it down. I was like, yeah, don't think about that, just enjoy the watch, kind of thing. But eventually it bubbles up, right? Which is why I sold that. I've owned 4 Speedmasters, and it just kind of always bubbles up. So yeah, it was an interesting conversation. I would pick Grand Seiko, despite the fact that I've got Omega. I know Grand Seiko is gonna make that watch. It's gonna happen one day, whether it's 5 years from now or next month. I'm gonna get that watch that's just right for me, because they just keep rolling that that roulette wheel, not roulette wheel, the thing where you pull the
slot machine.
Slot machine, thank you. Yeah.
Nobody saw this SJE 093 coming from Seiko.
No.
Right? So
No.
yeah, I mean, Grand Seiko can definitely do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. A 40 mil diver from Grand Seiko. Oh man, why are they doing? Why hasn't it happened yet?
Dib has maybe had some bad honey balls tonight. Maybe that's what's going on with Dib. Very good point. Quartz is underrated. Agreed.
Yes.
Detroit saying, as I was a glorified Speedmaster collector until about my first Rolex. Both good brands, but Patek, buy Patek, don't be poor. Wow, man, fiery. Wilson wasn't too crazy about the shorts. The shorts that Brandon's wearing.
I didn't notice.
Too long.
They're too long. So they're like almost like chinos.
No, they're actually really short. I think he's being sarcastic. They're short.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah. I wasn't looking at his shorts. I got to be honest with you.
Yeah, me neither.
I will be though.
I was looking at it. You know what it is? It's like is the hat. Like I'm always like,
yeah.
He's like wearing the same. That's his look, and I'm like focused on that. I take a Speedy over any GS Chrono, but most any GS 3-hander non-diver over the Omega 3-hander. non-diver. That's a complicated. Okay. We take Dibby to a couple of nice restaurants in Vegas, and now he's lecturing people about not being poor. We've created a dib monster. Wow. How's Brandon's cool hat in the video? Okay, here we go. He always has a cool hat on. Dib, he saw the same hat on a homeless. Okay, come on. I was scared of the Grand Seiko. I was. It was too nice. When Omega remakes the Seamaster 1165.024, I'll sell my Submariner and run to the Omega ADs. Not really sure which Seamaster that is, but I'm not really good with reference numbers.
Is that the one with the sword hands?
I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You know, there's a little too much dip going on here. Over here. Fatal Compromise in both brands, totally for me as well. Underachieving Watch Collector is agreeing with you, Sanjay. Compromise can be avoided once you start hitting the gym. Okay.
And I detail cars nonstop. I should have massive wrists, but they just don't grow.
Yeah, it's genetic, man. That's just genetic.
Yeah. I'm small boned.
Yes. Small Dib worked out 3 times with Wolfie, and now he thinks he's a bodybuilder. Oh boy. It's not the watch's fault that you're small. Did you ever consider that?
Yeah, I'm not blaming the watch. It's actually like completely subjective. You know,
Grand
one man's
Seiko
trash, another man's treasure, right?
Yep. Grand Seiko's fanboy waits 5 years to buy his perfect Grand Seiko. Keep waiting, brother. I'm sure the 36 Zenith can be traded for approaches. Wow.
No.
These guys, man. Something's maybe Kevin S also ate some bad honey balls tonight. Maison saying I have 2 Omegas on my want list, an AT Equator World Timer and a Speedmaster Professional. We watch Sam. Yeah, both great watches. Love them. Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, Jim, you got the straps. Good. That's good to hear. Too much dib. Never. Sword Hands Omega. Someone listening to the Grey NATO. I want Dibby drinking whatever he's drinking tonight, 24/7. Okay. Yeah, Dibby's spicy this weekend. Yeah, the videos of this week, I mean, like, Peace was good. I think, it was a little struggle finding some videos this week for sure. It's the summertime, I guess, right? But hey, I think we did okay.
Yeah,
we did all right.
We had fun.
Yeah.
Just some hot tea. Wow. Anyway, hey, listen. I'm good with calling it early this evening. I know we had pretty rough Sundays, and we're good for hitting the sack a little bit early tonight. So I'm good with that. If you guys are good with that,
yep,
yeah, works for me.
Hey, Clayton, anything coming up this week for the podcast wise?
I had Keith on yesterday's episode. Released it yesterday. That we talked about his recap of Windup.
Excellent, awesome.
Yeah,
Sanjay. I still got to catch your first impressions video on that Seiko. What do you got?
So I borrowed Marcus's Batman, right? And
Yeah.
I'll be returning it to him soon. I don't know if I should do another video with the Batman, because I did the Pepsi, and it's the same. It's literally the same watch, except this one's on a rubber beat.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of torn. If I don't know. I don't know what to do about that. So there might be a Batman video. There might not be. But yeah. If not, then there'll be Saturday Night Watch Talk next week.
Thanks. Kevin,
yes, it's riveting.
Podcast about Keith's favorite oatmeals.
Riveting.
Peanut butter and bananas.
Oh man. Anyway, guys. Hey, listen. I hope you had a great weekend, and we'll see you on Tuesday. Got another stream coming up on Tuesday, and then Friday and next week's Watch Soup. Guys, thank you so much for joining me this evening. Always appreciate my co-hosts and chat. You guys are pretty saucy tonight. Thank you for keeping it lively. Have a good one, guys, and see you next week. Another episode of Watch Soup. Take
Good
care.
night.
Good night.
Good night.